Mornings. All right. Good morning, beloveds. I just can't seem to get going this morning. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so I'm not, because I don't know what to tell you. So we're going to do your spiritual power. But what we're going to do is the housekeeping. And the housekeeping is just me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. You get one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month. The hot links are hot. Click here now means it. And it is a blind CC. Nobody's going to see your email. So hopefully you think it's worth it. I will mention the social medias merely from the standpoint we don't monetize them. So what we ask you to do instead is to go like, subscribe, and follow the pages. If you allow notifications, it'll let you know when we either go live or upload new videos. And then engage with the individual posts. When you react to the post, comment on the post, share the post, it bumps us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff, which is the goal. We don't want to pay for it. We don't want to give billionaires more money. So, yeah. So if you will help us out that way, we'd appreciate it. And we are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark. And, I'm the running member on the social medias that I am on. Apparently I'm in a mood this morning. So yay. Okay. So your spiritual power is a collection. This is a library. This is not a book. This is a library, much like the Bible. Not a book, library. Okay. So what it is a collection of some of Ernest Holmes' more rare works that you might not find anywhere else. We happen to be doing Discover a Richer Life right now, which I'm really enjoying. And what Discover a Richer Life is a collection of his articles from the Science of Mind magazine, which is really cool. We are in part 4, which is prayer. The power of faith. That's what we're in. So today's title is Experiment with Faith. Develop your possibilities. We like to try out new things and see how they work. There wouldn't be much fun in living unless we did this. For life is a great adventure. As a matter of fact, it is the great adventure. Unless new things are happening to us, life becomes uninteresting and drab. I love that he calls life the great adventure. Although I just finished a book that disagrees. The book says that love is the great adventure. But either way, so life is the great adventure. When God put us here, God made each one of us just a little different. And if divine intelligence made each one of us just a little different, as though each one were a new mold, then the greatest adventure in life would be an experiment with ourselves to see what we could do with this thing that is within us. Dante, you're making your cameo? Yes, baby, I love you too. We seem to be made up of flesh and blood and a hank of hair, a few clothes, and surrounded by certain conditions and situations. We seem to be the product of our environment. But this is a very superficial viewpoint. For while we are thinking of everyone as having just an ordinary commonplace talents, the first thing we know as Emerson or, the first thing we know, an Emerson or an Einstein appears, or a Buddha, or a Jesus. And all the world marvels and says that they were not made of the same kind of stuff that you and I were made of. Mm-hmm. This is where we make our biggest mistake. For in reality, you will never discover anything outside of you greater than you. Yourself are. Even the words and the acts of the great mean nothing unless we can understand them. All right. The things they do and say have no significance until we grasp their meaning. And we couldn't grasp their meaning unless there were something in us that what is already equipped to seize on the truth that they taught and make them our own. At which point I'm going to point out that my favorite Meister Eckhart quote, and maybe it's my favorite Meister Eckhart quote because it's the only one I know, is, what good does it do for Christ to be born 2,000 years ago if Christ is not born again in me today? Right there. That's what he's talking about. When you go to hear a symphony, you don't go just to see others perform or go to hear a great artist sing or a musician play. What you really go for is that they awaken within you something that corresponds to and with what they are doing. And seeing as how much I love music, I totally resonate with that. I totally resonate that. It's not a passive thing to go to a play or go to the movies or go to listen to music. It's an active participation thing. Truly. Hi, baby. Are you back? And they really give you back to yourself. This, too, is an adventure in self-discovery. Jesus turned water into wine. We believe that he did this because we believe that the power of God was in him. And it is the power of God that makes the vine and the grape and the juice. And it is really the power of God in nature that converts the juice into wine. Jesus changed this whole process and immediately converted water into wine because the power that makes the wine and the water were already in him. Was already in him. Okay. But suppose someone were to say to us, why don't you turn water into wine? Are you kissing me? You are kissing me. That is very sweet. I love you too. But suppose someone were to say to us, why don't you turn water into wine? What would your response be? Well, we know that it would be, we would say, well, why I can't turn water into wine. Why are you pulling my hair? You are distracting me. Why I can't turn water into wine, I wouldn't know how. The very idea is ridiculous. But how do we know that we couldn't turn water into wine? Who told us we couldn't? Perhaps we should think about the idea again and try and find out what it was that Jesus understood that enabled him to perform this miracle. Now, see, here's the thing I'm sitting here thinking about. I have a cousin who literally turns water into wine because she owns a vineyard. We just do it the hard way. It's not that we can't do it. We just do it the hard way. But I'm also struck by the line, who told us we couldn't. Because when I was in ministerial school and I had Reverend Cynthia James as my homiletics 1 teacher, and there was one point, and I burst into tears on the stage, and everybody cried in that class. It wasn't just me. She comes up, she puts her hands on she kind of puts her hands around me, like almost, but she had her hands on my shoulders. She puts her forehead on mine and leans, so she's leaned in, and she says, baby, who told you you weren't good enough? If you think that I didn't cry harder, you'd be wrong. So who told us we couldn't? How many times do we not do things because somebody told us we couldn't? I think that's one of the reasons why I live my life of, don't tell me I can't, because I will prove to you that I can. Like, don't tell me I can't do this. Because my response is almost always, watch me. All right, back to Ernest. But someone may say, well, Jesus was different from other people. And maybe he was. But he didn't say he was. As a matter of fact, he said, in effect, what I am doing, you can do too. If you actually believe in a power greater than you are and come to know that you, as a human being, have nothing to do with the process of life whatsoever. You live, but you do not create your own life. You think, but you didn't create your mind. What you are is spirit, but you didn't make that spirit. Once we are convinced with such a stupendous thought that it almost staggers the imagination, there is something in me greater than I appear to be, and that something really isn't myself as a mere human being at all. It is something that was put there when I was born. There is a presence and a power within me waiting for my recognition, but a denial of them on my part makes it impossible for them to operate in a larger way. It is true that they are already working in me, in digesting my food, circulating my blood, causing my heart to beat, giving me such intelligence as I have. It is true that I didn't make any of these things. Perhaps I am asleep to the great possibility. Perhaps I am as someone who is drugged and only half conscious. If I could only wake up, if I could only believe that the power which has done all this for me might be able to do a little more, perhaps it could do something beyond my wildest dream. How do I know? It told Emerson how to figure out the equations. That was Einstein. It told Einstein how to figure out the equation. It told Emerson how to write his essays. It told Browning how to write his poems. What happened to these people? They must have believed that they could do these things, or they never would have attempted them. And when we think of Jesus, the greatest of the great, perhaps when he first began to experiment with his faith, something told him, you can't multiply loaves and fishes. It is useless for you to tell the paralyzed man to get up and walk. There is no sense in you or calling Lazarus to come forth from his tomb. You can't resurrect yourself. How do we know but that early in life, Jesus met the same difficulties we do, the same obstructions in his own mind? He said that he had overcome the world, that he had conquered unbelief. As a matter of fact, I think we would lose the whole meaning of his teachings, his life, and his work if we overlook this. For certainly Jesus did not say, I am more divine than you. God likes me better than he likes you. God has told me the secrets that God withholds from you. This is exactly what he never did say. Rather, he said, in effect, I have overcome the world. I know that no person can take from or add to that which I am. I have come among you. I have lived with you and worked with you and taught you. I have told you about these things, which I call the realities of the kingdom of heaven. And I am telling you that everything I do is an example of an adventure and an experiment you all may engage in with the same certainty, the same assurance. Sorry, I like the line, I know that no person can take from or add to that which I am. No person can take from or add to that which I am. And frequently we let people take away from us. Whew. And then he told them that it was necessary for him to leave them physically. They couldn't understand this, for they were relying on him, which is why he had to leave. That's my opinion. He was the one who knew all the answers. He was the one who was close to God. He was their savior. But Jesus told them why it was necessary for him to depart from them. And I think he must have said something like this. Okay. I've really been telling you about yourselves, and somewhere all along the line, the Spirit of truth within you, the Spirit of God in you will reveal to you the meaning of everything I have said. Jesus finished the greatest experiment with life that any person ever made. There was no longer any questions or doubt, no longer any ifs, ands, or buts. He implied this is the way it is. Now you prove it for yourselves. And there is a quote from him, all these things that I do and more you will do. Really, this is the adventure you and I are on. It is a terrific one, and it should fire the imagination and the will to action. We are on the adventure of self-discovery through faith, and we are learning the greatest lesson in life. People don't live by bread alone, but by the subtle power which flows through everything, a divine presence which encompasses everything. People don't live by will or wishing or hope or longing. People live only because the divine life is their life. God comes new and direct to everyone who expects God, talks to everyone who listens, and acts through everyone who accepts its creativity. The authority or effectiveness of your word, your prayer, your meditation rests in the action of the law of God, not in you at all. Just the same as the authority you have in the use of the gravitational law and its response does not depend on you as a person. That authority is divine. That authority is an absolute, as absolute as you permit it to be. Our experiment is not with the power or the goodness or the presence or the love or the truth or the beauty of God, but with ourselves. That is a killer last line. That is a killer last line. Our experiment is not with the power or the goodness or the presence or the love or the truth or the beauty of God, but with ourselves. How much are we willing to permit? How much are we willing to look at the world and which is constantly telling us you can't? Who told you you couldn't? Who told you you couldn't? It certainly wasn't Jesus. Jesus said you could. Who told you you couldn't? That, the greatest adventure, the biggest experiment. Who told you you couldn't? Experiment with your life. Try something new. Try something different. Change your mind. It will change your life. All right, beloveds. I'm going to move on. I'm kind of really liking this section. So, I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, an experimental day, a let's wrap this week up day, a know who you are day, a cuddle your fur babies day, a tell somebody you love them day, a take care of business day, a take care of yourself day, a do what you gotta do day, a recognize the grand adventure day, a recognize the great experiment day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light, a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right, beloveds. Explore the truth of your own being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. It's all the divine knows. And from there, anything is possible. All right, beloveds. So let's go experiment life, right? We're experimenting with ourselves, with all that we are. And we are looking around at the world. And when the world says you can't, we respond back with, watch me. Watch me. All right? So, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you. Oh, no. Nope. I will not be. I'm probably going to go to the Renaissance Festival tomorrow, so I will be back with you on Sunday around 8:45. I am probably going to miss the next 5 Saturdays. I think I'm going to go ahead and spend the last 4 Saturdays at Fair. And then Dickens, because that's what we do for my birthday. So, all right. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.